Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to tell you about the so-called l'image globale, the global image of a strike, and the criteria that define it. There are a lot of rules in Canne de Combat about how all the techniques have to be carried out. In competition, the scoring judges have to decide very quickly whether a strike has been carried out according to the rules and if points can be given. A detailed analysis of every technical feature is not possible in the short time frame of a strike. The decision is made on the overall impression, the global image of a strike. The French Cahier d'Is, that can be regarded as the standard reference for Canne de Combat rules and techniques, describes 6 criteria valid for all Canne de Combat strikes that define the global image. These do not contain a description of the techniques of the single strikes, fronts in the armée, so those will also not be covered in detail in this video, and I will only comment on a few additional requirements. So the 6 criteria are rather a summary of technical features that have to be met for the correct execution of the strikes. The first is the obligation to arm your strike. This involves your weapon hand in one movement to be pulled back behind your spine before it returns towards its target. Although it is not mentioned here, remember that the pulling back of your hand should induce a 90 degrees twist of your shoulder and hips, which facilitates the correct positioning of your hand behind your spine. This does not only apply to the horizontal lateral exterior and lateral croisé, but also to all vertical strikes. Especially the brisé and enlevé are a source of error for this criterion. Violations in competition will be called by the referee as a non-armé or coup non-armé. Second is the obligation to execute every strike to the legs with a valid feinte, or to use the English term, a lunge. If a feinte is not carried out correctly, for example if the back leg of a feinte avant, a forward lunge, is not stretched out, you will be stopped by the referee because of a feinte insufficient, an insufficient lunge. Also insufficient, but often described as demi-feinte, is a lunge that is not deep enough. In other words, if the backside of the thigh of the bent leg is not at least parallel to the ground. The second criterion also states that it is forbidden to hit on the high line, head or flank, while performing a lunge. So a technique like the one seen here will be stopped by the referee in most cases, except if your opponent's legs are up in the air. Number 3. The plane and rotational axis of the strike have to be respected. So for lateral exterior and lateral croisé, the cane shall start from an already horizontal position in the armée. As the targets are at different heights, the trajectories will not exactly be horizontal and parallel to the ground, but they should not deviate significantly during the strikes. The cane should not drop down after the armée or wiggle during the development. Kinks or bends in the trajectory are forbidden and cannot be used to, for example, alter the height of a strike at a late stage. In the vertical strikes, the cane should not deviate to the left or right during its movement. Inward deflections can easily be recognized from a frontal view because the cane will be visible on the other side of the body. In outward deflections, the point of the cane describes a small circle further away from the body instead of a big circle close to the body. Criterion 4 is the obligation to execute the circular motion of the cane behind the spine. Thus, the circular motion of your cane has to start an instant earlier than the back turn of your body. The referee will call a violation a développement devant, a front development. The hand location for the circular motion and the armée are linked, and often when the développement devant is called, it is tried to be amended by the fighter with a better armée. But the armée is often perfectly fine, and the problem is only in the relative timing of cane and body rotation. Otherwise it would be called a non-armée feinte instead. Number 5 deals with the angle between the weapon arm and the shoulder. In the moment of contact with the target, the angle has to be obtuse, so 90 degrees or larger. For a normal horizontal strike, this is often not a problem. But if a décalage of one of the fighters is involved, you have to remember to adjust the shoulder accordingly. Especially when a horizontal strike is executed out of the false guard, you should make sure that the angle doesn't come out too small. However, an angle larger than 90 degrees is permitted. At last, there is the obligation to extend your upper arm, lower arm and the cane along a straight line in the moment of target contact. So there should be no kink at your elbow. But also with the arm completely stretched out, you should take care that there's no kink, neither horizontal nor vertical, in your wrist that degrades the straight arm cane line. This may happen if your hand continues its motion when the strike is actually already finished. It can often be seen for a brisé that is dragged down too deep. And these were the 6 technical criteria. Please let us know if you have questions or comments.